What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I just want to say thank you so much. And if you are subscribed, I really appreciate it. If you are not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you are on YouTube while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. And let's get into this podversation. All right, I recently did a conversation where I discussed this chick who says she has been in a 5-year relationship with someone else's husband, Latachascott of the group Escape, more specifically. And the guy, her husband, he goes by the name of Rocky Bivens. We learn in the interview that his real name, I believe, is Edward. But anyway, prior to Tasha K releasing the interview on her app, she did her live stream on her YouTube channel and she played a video of a phone conversation that she had on speakerphone with Latachascott's husband, giving him the opportunity to pretty much share his side of the story, because she was letting him know, look, I spoke with this woman. She seems pretty convincing. The evidence is clearly squared against you, and I'm giving you the opportunity to respond. Well, she played the entirety of that video conversation, phone conversation, I should say, that they have via video on her live stream that she did on this previous Friday. And I listened to the conversation a couple of times. And there were a number of things that stuck out to me with this conversation. One of the things that I will say, the non-verbal communication that Tasha K was giving with her eyes, with when he was saying some things and her eyes were either rolling or she was like shocked for a moment or seeming honestly kind of bored, because if you listen to the phone conversation, it just didn't sound like he was credible. And if you want to be 100% honest, it sounds like he might have even been on something, whether it's alcohol or other things. I don't know. I'm just saying it sounded that way. I'm not saying that he did, because I don't know him. Don't know what he does for recreation in the spare time. But it didn't sound like a coherent conversation. Let's just put it there. He sounded like he was just speaking all over the place. He really did sound like somebody who was at least tipsy, if not drunk, that was trying to sound like they knew what they were talking about. If you've ever had a conversation with someone who has been drinking and they've had a little bit too much and they really are trying their best to sound like they are all there, but it's just not working out, that's what it sounded like to me. But also it didn't sound like he was credible. So he didn't sound coherent and he did not sound credible. And it's sad to say that in comparison with the chick, even though she was a dishonest person by being in relations for over 5 years, being involved with someone else's husband, thinking that he was going to eventually leave his wife to be with her, it made her sound like she made more sense than he did. Period. Because she would have to really be a stalker, and I know that stalkers exist. I know. And you don't have to be a celebrity literally to have one. But what would it be about him? Honestly, what would there be about this man that would cause this woman to be a stalker to the point where she would have his name tattooed on her body? Seriously. And he was trying to convince Tasha that, well, when you see what comes out, well, it's a federal thing. And when you see what's coming out and you're going to be laughing and people are going to owe me an apology. Well, put it out there. It just did not sound like he was all there. And even with him sounding like he wasn't all there, it honestly sounded like he was convinced, and he might be right, that no matter what comes out, his wife isn't going anywhere and he isn't going anywhere. That may actually be true. That actually may be very true, that no matter what comes out, Tasha isn't going anywhere. And I can't say she's right or wrong for doing that, because she is the one that has to pull the plug and make that decision if she chooses to stay or leave her husband based on these circumstances. But another thing that stuck out to me was something, and I'm going to play the audio of this part of the call because I was like, okay, yeah, he is not friends with Todd, okay? Todd being Candy's husband, Todd Tucker. And I was like, oh, okay. I wouldn't be surprised if Candy does a response to that part of this on her YouTube channel, because she does a lot of content on her YouTube channel. Guys, like, Candy does everything. She is a Real Housewives of Atlanta. She is in the group Escape. She is a singer-songwriter. She is the owner of the OLG restaurant, Blaze restaurant. She has a makeup line. She's got her bedroom candy. She's got, I think, product line for her child. She named her steak and seafood restaurant after her daughter Blaze. You know, she had 2 kids in the past several years. She has a YouTube channel. She's a content creator. She's a podcaster. She does interviews. Like, Candy is also the First Lady of the United States. She's also the President of the United States. She's also a mailman. She's a garbage man. She's a dancer, choreographer. I'm just kidding. But honestly, Candy does a lot. And I say that in jest because one of the YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to, Armand Wiggins, he says he cannot stand Candy, and he says this in a way that makes me laugh. I respect her hustle, but it makes me laugh because in a way I feel like he's like kind of right, because he says Candy wants all the money. Candy wants all the money. She's always doing something. She wants all the money. And when you look at it from the aspect of all of the things that she has going on, and not saying that just because you have a lot of money, you don't need to make more or you shouldn't want more. But at this rate, what else do you really need? I mean, I don't know if Candy is just addicted to work or addicted to money or all of the above. I don't know how she does it all. I don't have any little children, and I do a lot as a business owner, and sometimes I feel like I just don't have enough hours in a day. I also don't have as many assistants as she has either, but I will say even with the assistants that she does have, she does a lot. But to get back off of that tangent, I'm going to play this clip from the conversation that Tasha K had with Rocky Bivens. So let's just get into this.
Let me ask you a question. So you and Kevin Hunter are pretty close, right?
No.
Okay, Tasha's not.
That's Tamika's husband. That's close with him. Darnell. Tamika's Scott husband. They close. They from New York. That's not me.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we're not close. There's no pattern of being with a woman who's in the forefront and a man having a relationship behind his back. Tasha, I'm a different one, baby. I'm not that. This all these little boys that's married to these housewives that you talking about that don't have a life or no brain. I went to school for psychology, sweetheart. I got my degree. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing music and law for years. I'm not like somebody who just running behind his wife. And these women who want to come out and say, ooh, they took a picture of a bag. You know how many people got the name Rocky? But even if it, I don't know if whatever, but my bags, why would I put my name on a bag when I'm married to? Like, that's stupid. Like, all that's dumb.
Okay.
But it's more elaborate than what I can say. When I see you, if you was in Atlanta, well, I'm not going to be in Atlanta. Well, we've been in Atlanta soon, but we've been, wherever you at, you'll see, like, I'm not even going to listen to these people, these text messages, digital footprint. I know you're an investigative journalist and all that, but it's things that you need to know.
One of the best.
Huh?
I said one of the top, doing
I
it.
know you are. Look, you got the emails from Rob. Listen, Tasha, I know a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. You know what I'm saying? I know you know a lot, so I ain't trying to dance around it with you, baby.
Okay.
We on the phone, so it's only so many things I'm touching on. So many people told me not to call you. I'm like, for what?
You should have listened to him.
You said I should have?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Sometimes I hate that I'm so good at what I do.
So what that mean?
What that mean is, like, listen, it's not looking good for you, Rocky. You've been on the phone for the last 38 minutes. You've been stuttering. You've been
I ain't stuttering, sweetheart.
You stuttering. You've been, going around, dancing around the truth. Like, when someone tells the truth, it comes out seamlessly. Like,
but why would here, I know I'm on the phone with you. Why would I get into it? I'm walking back and forth around people.
Because this is your life. This is your wife, somebody you've been married to for 30 years, who has been slandered left and right, who has a dissolved family relationship, and it all leads back to you.
Okay, so you heard a snippet of that conversation, and I laughed because when Tasha K called him out on how he was sounding on the call, I couldn't agree more. And I thought about the song by Joe back in the day, the song he had called Stutter. And the song, part of the, the hook was, I can tell you're lying because when you reply, you stutter. And that's kind of like what he was doing the entire conversation, just fumbling all over the place. And just sounding really incoherent. So, but that part that I played, the reason I wanted to play that is because she asked him about being friends with Kelvin Hunter, who is Wendy Williams' ex-husband. And he said he was not. And he said, I pretty much know where you're trying to go with that. But no, I'm not one of these Real Housewives guys that's like living off of a woman and didn't have a brain. You know who he was talking about. You know he was talking about Todd Tucker. He didn't say it right there, but I believe there is another part of that call, which that call portion that I played was close to the end of it. And he said something about Toddina. And if I felt like fast forwarding to get to that portion, I would play that clip, but I just don't feel like doing all of that. But you can listen to it for yourself and get to that part and you will hear exactly what he said. He's calling out Todd Tucker. He's basically saying Todd Tucker stands 10 toes down for his wife because he is the one that's benefiting off of that relationship. I've been doing this for years. I have been working, doing stuff for Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, this I Believe I Can Fly singer, of course, and, some other things that he said. So he was basically saying that that's not me. You cannot compare me to one of these Real Housewives husbands who's making a name off of being with the woman that I'm with. And I just really found that very funny that this beef that latochascott has with Kandi Burruss. I didn't do a conversation about that, but I listened to the content when Latasha was talking about Kandi, when she was addressing, did she take the $30,000 from her sister Tamika Scott? She addressed Kandi in that same video, and she said some things about Kandi. She addressed that there. So Rocky is pretty much letting it be known that, yeah, my husband has beef with Kandi and I got beef with her husband, Todd. So we are not friends. And I just was like, oh, okay. And I mean, I get it. Sometimes the men, they can be cordial, even though the women have their issues and their beefs or whatever, because men are a lot of times different when it comes to friendships than women are. So I really found that like, oh, wow, when he brought that up, because Tasha K wasn't trying to really insinuate that, I don't believe, at least in my opinion. She was really trying to go there when it came to Kelvin Hunter, but Rocky wanted to make it a point to bring up Todd's name in that situation to say, I don't live off my woman. I didn't come up off of my woman. I'm not one of these Real Housewives husbands. He definitely was talking about Todd, and I definitely heard him call Todd Toddina. Okay, so you can listen to that entire conversation and let me know your thoughts about that. But what did you think about the conversation that Rocky had with Tasha? Do you believe that he has something to hide, or do you believe that he just doesn't even really care and he's going to come up with some concoction to put out there to rebuke and rebut what this chick Unique said about him? And he even was calling her by her government name in that phone conversation as well, in the earlier part of the conversation. I don't remember what he said her name was, but he didn't call her Unique. He called her by her government name, and he said that she comes from a family of criminals and all this other stuff. And it's like, you doth protest too much, and you know a little bit more than you really should know if this is just some crazy fan stalker type situation. Did you sleep with her or not? He never said that he never did. He didn't say that. But, you know, guys, look, it's up to Latasha what she wants to do. Do I see her going anywhere? I don't. And that's fine, because I don't really care. But the fact that he's out here making all of these wild claims about this is a federal issue, the feds are going to be involved, and people are going to owe him an apology, and he's going to be laughing, and it didn't matter if 100 women stood there in front of him and his wife and said they had sex with him, they would, you know, nothing's going to happen, and he ain't going anywhere, and they would laugh at it. He might be right when it comes to that. But look, I, again, don't care anyway, but I really thought that this conversation was comical, if nothing else. And it was very interesting, even though it was very incoherent on his part, but it was definitely interesting when he tried to throw shade at Todd. Okay. So guys, if you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead and listen to it. I'll put a link to that video in the description box. And guys, thank you so much for liking this video, subscribing to the platforms that you are listening to this on. This is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.